Hey everyone, it's Dr. Emily Hurley. Thank you for tuning in. If you caught my video last week, I was talking about the level 1 of dynamic body balancing. When I first started on this journey of learning and training in dynamic body balancing, I had absolutely no idea what it was. I did not know what I was getting myself into, let me say. And I found this really beautiful and life-changing body work that Dr. Carol Phillips has created and teaches all over the world and all over the country. So I last week shared about that level 1 of dynamic body balancing was that full body myofascial release. And I shared about some of my experiences in being able to help patients with that since I first was trained in it a couple of years ago. I did want to share my personal story. This is something I have not shared with very many people. And I want to share it because I think it really demonstrates the beauty of this work, and also I think it really illustrates why I feel so strongly called to do this work and why I am so passionate about sharing it with others. So my goal in sharing my story is that if any portion of it sounds like something that you are looking for in your life, then this is a way for you to find answers like I was looking for at the time. So when I was in chiropractic school, I got to amazing opportunity to do a pediatric rotation in clinic. So this was a really cool opportunity to train with a very well known and well respected chiropractic mentor in the pediatric community. So she always did this very different kind of cranial work on babies. So I had learned some cranial adjusting in chiropractic school and I really loved it. I've always suffered from headaches and migraines, and I loved the cranial adjusting that I was learning in school. But when I observed Dr. Perriott in our pediatric rotation, when I observed her cranial work, it was completely different from what I had learned. And babies, kids, teenagers, adults, they loved it. Their bodies just melted. We saw really amazing results. And so I started asking her, "Can you teach me this cranial work? Well, I want to do this." And she told me, "No, I'm not going to teach it to you. This is Carol Phillips' work, and you need to learn it from her." And so I did. I signed up for Carol's class. And I was excited to go and learn more about cranial work. I had no idea that dynamic body balancing included this full body myofascial work. I didn't know the benefits of it during pregnancy, the type of birth work and labor work we can do with this unwinding technique. And I had no idea at all about this energy work component that what I would be experiencing at the dynamic body balancing seminars. So I definitely say I did not know what I was getting myself into. I definitely would not have said that I believed in energy work. I probably would have said it was something crazy, and I would not have signed up if I had known what it was truly. It wasn't until I experienced this work that I truly believed in it and saw how powerful it could be. So when I arrived at the seminar, I was in a really hard place in my life. Many of you know that this beautiful clinic that I have the honor to be a part of is Hurley Chiropractic. It is the clinic that my mom founded 26 years ago. And I grew up in this clinic, and I was so excited to come and work with her and learn from her. But just a few months before I graduated, my mom passed away. So I was instead thrown into the chaos of trying to learn how to run a business, learn how to be a doctor, and learn how to process and grieve this sudden loss of my mom. And I felt to be in a really dark place. I was not processing my anger and my grief well, and I didn't know how. And I did. I felt dark. That's the only way that I know how to describe it. I had this heavy, dark bitterness inside me, and I really started trying to look for, I've got to release this. I've got to, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be sad and scared and traumatized. But this dark bitterness and resentment that I had was not serving me, and I didn't know how to work through it or release it. Side note, I'm a huge advocate for mental health support, and I had a wonderful therapist at the time. And I do want to say that when I do this energy and emotional work with people, it does not replace seeing a wonderful therapist, getting counseling, and getting the mental health support that is needed. So I do want to say, start there, and this is a beautiful supplement to add on to. Like I've said before, like I mentioned last week, it's great to supplement chiropractic care for the physical pain, but because there is this energetic release that can happen when we're unwinding the fascia of the body, there's energy stored in that connective tissue, maybe from a trauma. Maybe we had a physical trauma, injured the tissue, injured the body, and the fear of the trauma got locked in. Maybe the opposite is true. Maybe an emotional trauma caused our body to create that tension, to protect, to lock down. Just like when we get stressed, our shoulders get tense or our stomach hurts. Our feelings, our emotions, our experiences can get locked into our body in a lot of ways. So while this can be a little bit more, I just straight up, I call it voodoo to my patients. I recognize it's a little more out there than a lot of what we're doing with our therapy, massage, our chiropractic, and a little bit more of that, directly science-based therapies that we do. But I think we have to recognize that it exists. It happens every day. We're interacting with energy in our body and other people's energies, and so to acknowledge it and to work with it is pretty cool. So I had no idea I was getting myself into this, but this weekend, this first weekend with Carol Phillips, I don't know how she knew. I'm really good at putting on a happy face and projecting that I'm wonderful and everything is great. I did not share any of my personal story, only that I was a chiropractor and I was interested in learning more about the cranial work she did. Somehow Carol knew. She has amazing intuition, and from doing this energy work, she can really tune in and pick up on some pretty crazy personal things with people, and that's exactly what she did with me. So every time that she was going to demonstrate a new portion of this technique and training throughout the weekend, she chose me to demonstrate on. And let me tell you, if she hadn't, and I'd only been observing some of this work, I would not have bought into it the way I did. But to experience how unwinding the body can release these really powerful emotions and help to process and release this negative energy that I was holding inside of me is amazing. And she knew crazy stuff about me that I did not share. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty out there. But if it's something that you feel like you've been looking for, if you feel like you've been looking for a way to process trauma, grief, anger, sadness, it's something that I'm really passionate about. And again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not replacing mental health support, but to be able to tune in to what your body needs, to where your energy is at, and to be able to acknowledge it and hold a space to process and work through it, it's pretty life-changing. And so that's the experience that I had. I was able to release so much anger, resentment, bitterness, and that darkness inside of me throughout that weekend, through doing the unwinding I described to you guys, through unwinding. As we unwind the fascial system, that energy is stored in there, and so we're able to create amazing change in our emotions, in our energy, and in the physical aspect of what we're doing too. So if this is something that sounds like what you're looking for, please let me know. And the other part of it is you don't have to talk about it. You can come and we can work and unwind and release things, and you never have to share with me what you're feeling or what you're releasing. It works whether or not we talk it out. Sometimes talking about it is useful in the moment when it bubbles to the surface. Some people, it's part of their process to just speak about it as we're letting it go. That was not the case for me when Dr. Carol Phillips and everyone in my class was working on me, and I was at times on the floor crying. I didn't share what I was feeling or where I'd come from or why I was upset. So if that part seems daunting to you, that is not a necessary portion of this type of work. So we don't have to even know what we're working on. You may not know that it's from a specific trauma. You may just know that you have a heaviness that you want to try to release, and that you want to have some personal growth, and maybe you want to work through some limiting beliefs that you have, and you want to get better. So again, please let me know if this is something that calls to you, if it's something that you feel would benefit you. And I would absolutely love to help in any way. Thanks, everyone.